On the day the graduate school admission list was announced, the counselor called. Her voice as cold as ice. Chat records, recordings, witnesses, hidden videos. All the evidence pointed to me cheating on the graduate school entrance exam. My roommate, Ding Ruhan, stepped forward with red-rimmed eyes. Her voice trembling. Yuan, I'm sorry. It was me who reported you under my real name. What you did isn't fair to everyone else. Looking at her pitiful, delicate face, I suddenly laughed. You all say I cheated. Then what if I never even entered the exam room? On the day the graduate admission list was announced, the bulletin board at the school was packed with people. On the red paper in black ink, there was only a list of names. No schools. I spotted myself at a glance. Yuan. I let out a sigh of relief. After 3 years of effort, it had finally paid off. I turned to leave, when someone suddenly called out behind me. Yuan, you actually got in. I turned around and saw a girl from my class. Her expression complicated. Yeah. I smiled and said nothing more. She let out a cold snort and turned her head away. Some people are just lucky. I froze for a moment and didn't pay much attention, until the counselor's call came through. Yuan. Come to the college office immediately. His tone was as cold as ice. I thought there was some problem with my postgraduate recommendation paperwork, so I hurried to the department. As soon as I pushed the door open, I knew something was off. The department secretary, the dean's assistant, the counselor, and the discipline inspection teacher were all sitting there. A stack of documents was spread out on the table. The counselor tossed a printed chat log in front of me. Is this you? I lowered my head to look. That was a WeChat chat record. Me. Is the answer reliable? Scalper. Don't worry. It's definitely the real exam questions. I'll send them to you an hour before the exam. Me. Money isn't a problem. As long as I can make it through. Scalper. Got it. Good luck with that. The profile picture is mine. The nickname is mine too. Even the moment's background is the same photo I used before. I froze. This isn't me. I gritted my teeth. The discipline inspection teacher let out a cold laugh and opened another recording. Just wait and see. I'll definitely get into graduate school this year. I've already handled all the connections. Did you really think I was actually studying? Graduate school entrance exam. Heh, that's something ordinary people do. The voice in the recording was mine. My fingertips trembled. Those were indeed words I said. That was a month ago. In the dorm, Ding Ruhan was waving her mock exam score in front of me again, saying things like, "You have to stay grounded when preparing for the graduate entrance exam." I was in a bad mood that day, had just been scolded by my advisor, and had also had an argument with Guzhou. She kept saying, ordinary people need to work hard. And I got annoyed. I deliberately lay back on the bed and said dramatically, "You just wait and see. I'm definitely getting in this year. I've already lined up all my connections. Did you really think I'd get by just by grinding practice questions? Taking the graduate school entrance exam is something ordinary people do." Ding Ruhan's face looked very unpleasant at the time. I thought at most she would hold a grudge against me for a few days. I didn't expect that she had recorded this part. The recording came to an abrupt stop. The counselor looked at me coldly. "This is what you said yourself. Also, both of your roommates wrote statements confirming that you had repeatedly said similar things in the dorm." The door was pushed open. Ding Ruhan and the other 2 roommates walked in. Ding Ruhan was wearing a white dress, her hair falling softly over her shoulders. Her eyes red. As soon as she saw me, tears started to fall. Yuan, I'm sorry. It was me who reported it under my real name. I suddenly looked up. You, she sobbed, her voice as light as the wind. I didn't want to either. But what you're doing is too unfair to the other candidates. If I don't say anything, I won't be able to live with my conscience. As she spoke, she raised a hand to wipe away her tears. The light shone on her face, her skin pale and glowing, like a white lotus drenched by rain. The other 2 roommates also spoke up. We can testify that she did indeed say those things. The day she printed her admission ticket, she even told us, "Just wait and see how I handle this." We tried to talk her out of it. But she wouldn't listen. I only felt a wave of dizziness. You're crazy. I growled. I didn't cheat. I had no need to cheat at all. The dean's assistant tapped the desk. His voice stern. You had no need to. Then explain this. Who is this man? He opened a video clip. In the frame, there is a middle-aged man wearing a mask, sitting in a dim rental apartment. I'm the one who sells graduate entrance exam answers, he said to the camera. She came to me, and I also sent her the answers. As for whether she brought them into the exam room, I don't know, but buying and selling answers is a fact. As he spoke, he also took out a screenshot of a transfer record. The recipient's name was masked, revealing only the character yen. The transfer amount was 5,000. The note said, postgraduate entrance exam. All I could feel was a ringing in my ears. This is a frame-up. I gritted my teeth. Someone forged the chat logs, forged the evidence, and you're just going to believe it. The secretary frowned and opened another document. And this is a video that has been circulating online. He turned the computer screen toward me. The footage was a bit shaky, clearly filmed secretly. In the exam hall, a girl wearing a down jacket stood with her head lowered, holding a phone in her hand. Its screen lit up. Every so often, she would look up at the podium, then quickly lower her head again. When the proctor walked past, she hurriedly stuffed the phone into her sleeve. Because of the angle, her face couldn't be seen clearly, but her figure was somewhat similar to mine. And the clothes were also the gray down jacket I often wore. Below the video, someone had added subtitles. Cheating at the graduate school entrance exam site. Suspected to be Yen Mao, a female student from a certain university. The disciplinary teacher tapped the desk. How do you explain this? I stared at the screen, my fingertips icy cold. This wasn't me. I didn't enter the exam room. I didn't even take the postgraduate entrance exam. The counselor sneered. Then where is your admission ticket? Your roommate said you printed your admission ticket. You printed your admission ticket, but didn't go to the exam. You think we'd believe that? I opened my mouth, then closed it. My throat felt like it had been blocked by something. I did print my admission ticket. I only printed my admission ticket to keep it as a memento. I explained through gritted teeth. I really didn't go to the exam room. The secretary waved his hand impatiently. You can keep to your version of events for these things, but the evidence at present is very unfavorable to you. The school has already reported the situation to the Department of Education. Before the investigation results come out, you are to suspend your studies and reflect on your behavior. Also, your admission offer for graduate school may be revoked. At that moment, everything went black before my eyes. As soon as I came out of the college office, my phone started vibrating non-stop, one unfamiliar number after another. As soon as I answered, I was cursed at. Do scum like you even deserve to be in graduate school. The call was hung up. The second one is a text message. Go die. Trash. The third one. How did your mom give birth to you? WeChat blew up too. Someone pulled me into a graduate entrance exam fairness discussion group. As soon as I got in, I saw mentions of me all over the screen. Come out and say something. Why did you cheat? Do you know how many people have had their efforts wasted because of people like you? Before I could even explain, I was kicked out. On the school forum, a post was pushed to the front page. Eye-catching title. Breaking. A female student at X university cheated on the graduate entrance exam, and her roommate reported her by real name. The poster is Ruoruo is not weak. I clicked in. The post was very long. It started with there are 4 people in our dorm and went on to I've always treated her as a friend. There were a lot of details interspersed throughout. Things like she spends every day in the dorm watching shows and playing games. And she never studies yet always says she's definitely getting in. Finally, it was her inner struggle. I know that if I stand up, people will say I'm betraying my roommate. But I thought of those people who study until 2 or 3 in the morning every day. Thinking of those who were preparing for the exam a second or third time. I just feel like I can't pretend I don't know anything. I'm not doing this for myself. I just want to hold the line. At the end of the post, a photo was attached. It was Ding Ruhan's selfie. She sat by the window, holding a book in her hands, sunlight falling on the side of her face. There were tears in her eyes. With the caption, "May all efforts be rewarded." The comments below were flying by quickly. "Ruahan is too kind. I feel bad for you for having a roommate like this. The school should immediately expel Yen Yuan. People like this should be sentenced." I was holding my phone, my hands shaking. People in the comments had already started doxing me. "She's from the XX major at XX college. I know her. I used to think she was pretty impressive. I didn't expect it to be this disgusting." Soon, my phone number, WeChat ID, QQ number, and even the email address I had left behind when participating in competitions before were dug up. Calls kept coming in one after another. As soon as I answered, it was all insults. "Do scum like you even deserve to read? Do your parents know you're like this? Go die. Trash." I put my phone on silent, but the screen kept lighting up non-stop. On WeChat, someone added me as a friend. The verification message said, "I'm your high school classmate. I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. You've brought shame on our school. Why don't you just die?" I suddenly felt a tightness in my chest. I went to the bathroom. The person in the mirror had a pale face and dark circles under their eyes. I raised my hand and poured a handful of cold water over myself. The icy water ran down my cheeks. But I didn't feel cold at all. The phone vibrated again. It was Guzhou. "Let's break up." Just 6 short words. I stared at that line for a full 30 seconds. My fingertips felt a little numb. I replied to him with one word. "Okay." He didn't reply again. A few minutes later, his mother called. "Yen Yuan, how can you be so shameless? Don't you know what you did yourself? Stop clinging to our Guzhou. Our family doesn't welcome people like you." Her voice was shrill, stabbing into my ears like a knife. I gripped my phone, my knuckles turning white. "Auntie, I didn't cheat. Believe it or not. That's your problem." After saying that, I hung up the phone. When I walked out of the bathroom, a few girls passed me in the hallway. They lowered their voices on purpose, yet just enough for me to hear. "It's her. So disgusting. If I were her roommate, I'd report her too." I heard she even said something like, "Graduate school entrance exams are something ordinary people do. That's way too arrogant." I stopped in my tracks. One of the girls looked up and saw me, freezing for a moment. Then she gave a cold laugh and deliberately bumped into me. "Can't you watch where you're going?" Her shoulder hit my arm, and the phone in my hand dropped to the ground with a slap. The screen had cracked into a flower. I bent down to pick it up. She had already walked far away, arm in arm with her companion. She was still saying, "What thing is this? And it's even worthy of staying at this school." I stood there frozen, my ears filled with a buzzing noise. At that moment, I suddenly had an illusion. It was as if the whole world was working against me. At night, I returned to the dorm. As soon as I pushed the door open, I saw Ding Ruhan sitting by the bed, facing the computer. As soon as she saw me, she quickly stood up. Yuan, you're back." Her voice was very soft, carrying a carefully measured concern. "Are you okay today?" I looked at her. Her eyes were red, as if she had just been crying. There was an opened carton of milk on the table, along with an unopened bag of cookies. She followed my gaze and smiled a little bashfully. "I bought too much. Do you want to have some?" I suddenly found it amusing. "Ding Ruhan." She looked up. "When you reported me, did you ever think about what would happen to me today?" She froze for a moment, then lowered her head, her voice trembling. I just think that if you do something wrong, you should pay the price. You can scold me, you can hate me, but I don't regret it." She lifted her head, her eyes carrying a near stubborn resolve. "I'm doing this for fairness." I stared at her for a long time. In the end, I laughed. "Fine. Then stop pretending to be a good person in front of me. You drink the milk yourself. You eat the cookies yourself. From today on, neither of us owes the other anything." I turned around and packed up my things. I cleared out the bed, the desk, And the wardrobe bit by bit. Ding Ruhan looked at me, his lips moving slightly. Yuan, are you moving out? The dormitory isn't yours alone. I didn't turn around. Yes. The dormitory isn't mine alone. So, I'm leaving. I pulled my suitcase and walked out of the dormitory. In the hallway, several girls were peeking around furtively. Someone whispered. She was reported. And she still dares to be this arrogant. Why pretend to be pitiful? Serves her right. I didn't even glance at them. I'm afraid that if I turn around, I won't be able to help myself and rush over. When I reached the stairwell, my phone rang. It was my mom. Her voice was clearly panicked. Yuan, is what's online true? I froze for a moment. You saw it. She took a breath. Our neighbor showed me. Say that you cheated on the graduate school entrance exam. She paused. Then hurriedly added, if you really did something wrong, then turn yourself in. Don't do anything illegal. No matter what. You are still our daughter. My dad took the phone. His voice deeper than usual. Xiao Yuan. The most important thing in life is one's conscience. If you didn't do it, then explain it clearly. If you did it, don't hide it. My throat tightened. They didn't scold me, nor did they say, we believe you. They just used their usual way to urge me to admit my mistake. Because in their hearts, the media, the school, and the complaint letter were more believable than me. Their daughter, dad, mom. I didn't do it. I tried my best to make my voice sound calm. Please stop looking at your phones. Go stay at grandma's for a few days. The signal in the mountains isn't good, so just act like you don't know anything. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. My mom asked softly, Yuan, are you really? Mom. I cut her off. Just pretend that your daughter was wrong this time. Okay. My mom didn't say anything. She only let out a soft sigh. Then be careful yourself. If anything happens, tell your family. By the time I hung up the phone, my eyes were already red. I suddenly thought of when I was a child. I broke the neighbor's window. It was clearly the boy next door who threw a stone at me first. And I just picked it up and threw it back. The neighbor came to our house to make a scene. My dad didn't ask why and slapped me first, saying, no matter what, you broke someone's window, so it was your fault. Back then, I cried and said, he hit me first. My dad said, then you can just move out of the way. If you don't move out of the way, that means you're impulsive. From then on, I learned a lesson. In adults' eyes, the one who apologizes first is always the more sensible one. The truth doesn't matter. What matters is attitude. I pulled my suitcase and walked out of the dormitory building. The night wind was very cold. The campus streetlights were lit one by one. In the distance, some people were running on the playground, and some were falling in love on the lawn. Everyone's life was running normally. Only me. As if the entire world had forcibly shoved me to the edge. I found a small hotel near the school. The room was very small. The wallpaper had yellowed, and there were patches of mold in the corners. I put down my suitcase and sat by the bed. My phone vibrated again. It was Guzhou. He sent a message. Yuan, I'm sorry. I stared at those 3 words and suddenly laughed. I replied to him with one line. You don't need to say sorry to me. Just remember the choice you made today. Don't come looking for me again after this. After sending that, I blocked him. Then I turned off my phone. The room fell silent all at once. So quiet that I could only hear my own breathing. I leaned against the wall and slowly slid down to the floor. At last, the tears fell. I didn't make a sound. I just covered my face, my shoulders trembling one after another. I told myself, hold on a little longer. Just hold on a little longer. There will always be a day when the truth is revealed. But when will that day come? I have no idea at all. Early the next morning, I was jolted awake by my phone vibrating. I had turned it off last night, but later I couldn't resist turning it back on to see if there were any messages. As soon as I powered it on, a flood of notifications hit me so hard I was completely stunned. Roommate of girl accused of cheating in the graduate school entrance exam speaks out. The courage to a roommate. A university responds to the postgraduate entrance exam cheating incident. I clicked into one of them. It was an interview video from a local news outlet. In the frame, Ding Ruhan stands beneath the ginkgo tree on campus, wearing a light-colored trench coat, her hair slightly tousled by the wind. She is holding a book in her hand, as if she had just come out of the study room. The reporter held the microphone out in front of her. Student Ding, do you regret it now? Ding Ruhan pressed her lips together, her eyes red. To be honest, a little. After all, we're roommates. And also friends. I'm also afraid people will say I betrayed my roommate. She took a soft breath, lifted her head, and her gaze became resolute. But then I think of those classmates who study until 2 or 3 in the morning every day, and of those who are taking the exam a second or third time. Then I feel I can't just pretend I know nothing. I stepped forward not for myself, but for all the hard-working examinees. The reporter asked, then do you still dare go back to the dorm now? Ding Ruhan gave a bitter smile. No, I don't dare. I'm afraid she'll take revenge on me, but I don't regret it. Her voice was very soft, yet carried a tragic sense of sacrificing herself. The camera gave her a close-up. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and she held back hard, refusing to let her tears fall. The comments section had already blown up. Ruhan is so brave. This is what a truly conscientious college student looks like. I hope the school will protect her. Yen Yuan, get out of the school. I stared at the screen, and suddenly felt a wave of nausea churn in my stomach. I got out of bed and rushed to the bathroom, where I gagged for a long time. Nothing came up, only sour water. The person in the mirror had a deathly pale face, his eyes bloodshot. I turned on the faucet and kept splashing my face with cold water. The cold water ran down from my chin into my neck, but I didn't feel the cold at all. The phone buzzed again. It was the counselor. You don't need to come to class today. The college has already decided to initiate expulsion proceedings against you. Don't show up at school before the results are out, so as not to cause unnecessary trouble. I stared at the 4 words expelled from school, and all I could hear was a buzzing in my head. I called. He didn't answer. I called again. It rang for a long time, and he finally answered. Hello, teacher. I really didn't cheat. I tried my best to keep my voice calm. Could you give me a chance to appeal? How do you still want to appeal? The counselor's voice was full of impatience. The evidence is all right there. Chat logs, recordings, witnesses, scalper testimony, exam room video. How am I supposed to help you? Sir, those are all fake. I gritted my teeth. Chat logs can be fabricated, videos can be face-swapped, and ticket scalpers can be bribed. At the very least, check whether I even entered the exam room. I checked, he said coldly. My heart leapt with joy. Well, the exam room surveillance is broken, he said flatly, so there's no way to tell whether you went in or not. But that still doesn't prove you didn't cheat. I froze. Did the surveillance break? Yes. He seemed too lazy to say much to me. What matters most to you right now is to think about your own attitude. I advise you to proactively apply for withdrawal. That way, it's good for both you and the school. It won't look too bad on your record either. I tightened my grip on the phone. Teacher, I didn't cheat. Why should I drop out? The counselor fell silent for a few seconds. Yen Yuan, stop being so stubborn. Your reputation is already like this now. Even if the school doesn't expel you in the end, do you really think you can still stay at this school? How will your classmates see you? How will your teachers see you when you look for a job in the future? Will an employer want to hire you after seeing these news reports? His words came one by one, stabbing into my heart like knives. If you step back now, you can still save a little face. Don't make this any more ugly than it already is. I suddenly laughed. I laughed so hard my eyes almost filled with tears. Teacher, from start to finish, you never once asked me, did you do it? Did you ever believe me? There was silence on the other end of the phone. After a long while, he sighed. Yen Yuan, I've been teaching for so many years. What kinds of students haven't I seen? I've seen your kind of situation far too many times. If you really hadn't done it, you would have produced evidence long ago. Now you can't produce anything and only keep saying you were wrongly accused. How am I supposed to believe you? I only felt a chill run from the soles of my feet all the way to the top of my head. So, in your eyes, I'm already a cheater, am I? It's not in my eyes, he said coldly. It's a fact right there. Take care of yourself. He hung up the phone. The room fell quiet again. I leaned against the wall and slowly slid down to the floor. The phone screen was still lit. A new message popped up in the school's official website announcement section. Announcement on the progress of handling the case of our student Yen Mao in the graduate entrance exam. I clicked in. The announcement was very long. The general meaning is, after preliminary investigation, Yen was found to have purchased graduate entrance exam answers, contacted scalpers, and repeatedly spread claims in the dormitory about making connections and greasing the wheels. The school attaches great importance to the matter and has established a special investigation team. During the investigation period, all academic activities of Yen Mao will be suspended. The school will, based on the investigation results, handle the matter seriously in accordance with the law and regulations, and will show no leniency. The announcement also added at the end, maintaining fairness in exams is the responsibility of every student. The school will firmly crack down on any acts that undermine fairness and justice. The comments section is already open. The school did a good job. Such people should be fired. I hope all schools are like this. As I looked at those comments, I suddenly found them a little ridiculous. They had no idea what had happened. I don't want to know either. They only need one bad person to prove that this world still has justice. And I just happened to become that bad person. I tossed my phone aside. The room was very small. The walls were yellowing, and there was a spider in the corner, slowly weaving its web. I suddenly thought of a question. If one day, I really got fired, then what would my 3 years of effort amount to? Those nights spent staying up late to run experiments. Those days when I was scolded so harshly by my advisor that I couldn't even lift my head, yet still gritted my teeth and kept revising the paper. Those days when, for one competition, I tore everything down and started over again and again. Were all of them going to become a joke because of a fabricated chat record, an audio recording taken out of context, and the tears of a hypocritical innocent act? I closed my eyes. My mind was in complete chaos. At one moment, I heard my parents' cautious voices. If you really did something wrong, then turn yourself in. At another, there was Gu Zhou's message. Let's break up. For a moment, it was the counselor's indifferent tone. You'd better take care of yourself. And then there were Ding Ruhan's red eyes. I did it for fairness. I suddenly felt as if I had fallen into a bottomless black hole. No matter how I shouted or struggled, no one could hear me. No one was willing to lend a hand. In the morning, I was awakened by a burst of urgent knocking at the door. Yen Yuan, open the door. It was the counselor's voice. My heart tightened. Could it be that the school had already issued an expulsion notice? I threw on a coat and walked to the door. Teacher. Outside the door. In addition to the counselor, there were also 2 unfamiliar men in suits. One was carrying a briefcase, and the other was carrying a camera. The counselor's expression was somewhat complicated. The school received a notice that the main station is coming to do a special live broadcast on the fairness of the postgraduate entrance exam. They hope that you can cooperate with the interview. I froze for a moment. Me. The man holding the briefcase stepped forward and showed his credentials. Hello, Yen. I'm from the news center of the main station. We'll be doing a live broadcast at your school today. We hope you can come to the scene and give an interview. I instinctively wanted to refuse. I don't want to. Before the words were even finished, the counselor spoke up. This is the school's arrangement. You have to go. This is also an opportunity for you to express your stance. If you don't go, it's the same as admitting to all the accusations by default. I looked at him. His eyes flickered, yet carried an unyielding firmness that brooked no refusal. I suddenly understood. What the school wanted was not the truth. It was a student with the right attitude. A student willing to admit fault before the camera. Cry bitterly. And apologize to the people of the whole country. That way, they can announce to the outside world. Look, how much our school values this matter. How fair and impartial we were in handling it. As for whether I was wronged, nobody cares. I smiled. The smile was faint. Okay, I'll go. I want to see just how far they can take this act. The live stream is being held in the school auditorium. The auditorium is packed. School leaders, teachers, and student representatives. There was also a large crowd of reporters. At the front of the auditorium, a temporary stage had been set up. Several tables and chairs were arranged on the stage. In the center was a large logo. TV station News Live Studio. I was taken backstage. A makeup artist did a simple makeup look for me. Your complexion looks terrible, she whispered while covering my dark circles. You'll look very haggard on camera later. I looked at myself in the mirror. My face was pale. My eyes hollow. I looked like someone who could collapse at any moment. The makeup artist sighed. Don't be too nervous either. Just cooperate with them and say a few things they want to hear. And it'll be over. I smiled. What if I don't want to say it? She froze for a moment. Then shook her head. That won't do you any good. Given the situation now. You should just go along with it. I said nothing. I knew it very well in my heart. I wouldn't say what they wanted to hear. I wouldn't admit to something I hadn't done. Even if that meant losing everything. Before the live stream began, I was brought onto the stage. I sat down. Across from me was a female reporter. She was in her 40s, with short hair and a sharp gaze. Beside her was one of the school's deputy party secretaries. And beside that person was Ding Ruhan. She was wearing a light-colored dress. Her hair tied into a ponytail. She looked clean and well-behaved. As soon as she saw me, her eyes flickered. Very quickly, she lowered her head again, as if she didn't dare meet my gaze. The countdown in the live stream room ticked on the screen. 3, 2, 1 begin. The female journalist looked into the camera, her voice clear and calm. Good morning, everyone. This is the news studio of TV. Today, we will be bringing you coverage of the postgraduate entrance exam cheating incident that has recently attracted widespread attention online. She briefly explained what had happened. Then, she turned her gaze to me, classmate Yen Yuan, regarding the various claims circulating online. Do you have anything you'd like to say? I looked at her. The light was very bright. So bright that I could barely keep my eyes open. I took a deep breath. I didn't cheat. That was the first sentence I said. The female reporter's eyes turned slightly cold. Do you deny all the accusations? Includes buying answers, contacting scalpers, and promoting pulling strings in the dormitory. And this recording too. She raised her hand and gestured. The staff member pressed the play button. The recording of me bragging in the dorm rang out once again. You just wait and see. I'm definitely getting into grad school this year. I've already lined everything up. You think I'm really studying? Graduate entrance exam. Heh, that's what ordinary people do. The recording ended. The female reporter looked at me. Did you say this? I nodded. It was me who said it. In the auditorium, a murmur of whispered discussion rose. The bullet comments started flooding in as well. She admitted it herself. Still saying you didn't cheat. You really have a thick skin. The female reporter continued to ask. So you admit you had the idea of pulling strings? Or rather, did you ever try to obtain a graduate student quota through improper means? I looked at her and slowly said, I admit. I did say those things at the time. But that was just words said in anger. It was me bragging in the dorm. I didn't pull any strings. Much less did I cheat. Ding Ruhan suddenly raised her head. She looked at me. Her eyes filled with a hurt, aggrieved expression. Yuan. How could you say that? You said these things more than once in the dorm. You even said you had already bought the answers. You told us not to tell anyone. Are you trying to shift all the blame away from yourself now? Her voice was trembling. Tears welled up in her eyes once again. The female reporter promptly handed her the microphone. Student Ding, would you be willing to tell us again what happened at the time? Ding Ruhan sniffled. trying hard to look strong. At the time, she said in the dorm that she had already bought the answers. She said she knew people and could get the exam questions in advance. She also said that for her, the graduate entrance exam was basically not a problem. I was very scared at the time. I advised her not to do that. She said, "Don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing." Later, after the graduate school entrance exam was over, I saw a video of her cheating online. That made me even more afraid. I struggled for a long time before I finally mustered the courage to report it to the school. I know that doing this might get me criticized for betraying my roommate. But then I think of those classmates who study until the early hours every day. I think of those who are taking the exam a second time, even a third time. And I feel that I can't just pretend I know nothing. By the end of her speech, tears finally fell from her eyes. In the auditorium, some students softly applauded. The bullet comments were scrolling by rapidly. "Rohan is too kind. She is the one who truly has a conscience. Yen Yuan is disgusting." The female reporter looked at me, her tone growing even more severe. "Classmate Yen Yuan, do you have anything else to say?" I looked at Ding Ruhan, at her tear-streaked face, at the fleeting look of satisfaction that flashed through her eyes. I suddenly smiled very calmly. "Yes, what I want to say is..." I raised my head and looked at the camera, word for word. "I never took the graduate school entrance exam at all. I didn't even enter the exam hall. Didn't you people know to go check?" The hall fell silent in an instant. Everyone's eyes turned to me. The female reporter froze for a moment. "What did you say? You didn't take the graduate entrance exam? Then why is your name on the graduate admission list?" Ding Ruhan also suddenly looked up. Her face instantly turned pale. "You're talking nonsense. You clearly printed your admission ticket. You also told us you were going to the exam room to work something out." I turned around and looked at her. A faint smile curved at the corners of his mouth. "I did print my admission ticket, but I didn't go to the exam. I just wanted to keep it as a memento." The female reporter frowned. "An empty claim means nothing. What evidence do you have?" I took a slightly crumpled movie ticket out of my bag. "This is the movie ticket from the morning of the postgraduate entrance exam day. The time is from 9:00 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. It completely overlaps with the graduate entrance exam time." I held up the movie ticket. The camera zoomed in for a close-up. A hush of sharp intakes of breath rose in the auditorium. The female reporter took the movie ticket and glanced at it. "This only proves that you bought a movie ticket. It does not prove that you actually went to see the movie." I nodded. "Then you can check. The cinema has surveillance cameras." That day, I also posted on Moments. I took out my phone and opened Moments, set it to the day of the postgraduate entrance exam. On the screen was a selfie. I was sitting in a movie theater, wearing 3D glasses, smiling happily. The caption is, "Postgraduate entrance exam." That doesn't exist for me. I choose to watch a movie. The time is crystal clear. December 25th, 09:21. It was precisely the time when the postgraduate entrance exam politics paper was about to begin. The female reporter's fingers clearly paused for a moment. The barrage of comments began to flood the screen. Is she really watching a movie? What is this even supposed to mean? Then why is her name on the admission list? Ding Ruhan suddenly screamed. "You're lying. There's no way you could have gone to see a movie with that top star. You think everyone's like you, just full of hot air." I was stunned for a moment. Top-tier celebrity. She froze for a moment, then realized she had let something slip. The female reporter seized on the point. "Student Ding, what did you mean by top-tier celebrity just now?" Ding Ruhan gritted her teeth, as if she had thrown caution to the wind. She said in the dorm that she knew the top star Lu Tingzhou. She said they were very close. She also said she could use him to get to know a lot of powerful people. She just loves to brag. Now, she must have forged these things. Someone like her. How could she possibly be worthy of going to a movie with a top celebrity? Her words were like a needle, piercing the hearts of many. Yeah, an ordinary college student. How could someone just casually go to the movies with a top-tier celebrity? That does sound a lot like bragging. Whispers rose again in the auditorium. The bullet comments also began to overwhelmingly turn against her. I knew it. She loves to brag. Movie tickets and WeChat moments can both be forged. Did she think this would clear her name? The female reporter looked at me. Her eyes filled with obvious suspicion. Student Yen Yuan, do you have any other evidence? I looked at her. I suddenly found it a bit funny. Evidence. I took out the movie ticket, and they said it could be forged. I showed them my Moments post. And they said it could be photoshopped. What else could I possibly come up with? I took a deep breath. Yes. I opened my phone contacts and found a number saved as Lou the Film Emperor. In front of everyone. He dialed the number. The video call connected. A familiar face appeared on the screen. Sharp brows and bright eyes. With a high nose bridge. It was none other than top-tier film star Lu Tingzhou. When he saw me, he froze for a moment. Then smiled. A Yuan. Why did you suddenly call me on video? The auditorium instantly erupted. Holy crap. Is that really Lu Tingzhou? This isn't edited. Is it? The female reporter also froze. She didn't expect that I would really call. Even more unexpected. The other party actually answered. I turned the phone toward the camera. Brother Lu, I have something going on here and need you to help me confirm it. I briefly explained what had happened. On the morning of the graduate school entrance exam. Did I watch a movie with you? Did we take a photo together? After the movie ended. Did we eat together? Lu Tingzhou's expression, which had started out relaxed, gradually turned serious. You're saying someone framed you for cheating on the graduate school entrance exam? I nodded. He looked into the camera, his voice clear and firm. I can prove it. On the morning of the graduate school entrance exam, Yen Yuan was in the cinema the whole time. We watched a movie together and even took a photo together. After the movie ended, we had lunch together. She couldn't possibly have been in the exam room. As he said that, he also raised his hand to gesture. I have the work records from that day. The movie theater also has surveillance footage. You can check anytime. In the auditorium. There was a deathly silence. Everyone's faces were filled with shock. The barrage of comments was scrolling by at lightning speed. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. What kind of plot twist is this? So she really didn't go to the exam. Then how did she get into graduate school? The female journalist took a deep breath and forced herself to calm down. Then may I ask, why does your name appear on the admissions list? How exactly were you admitted? Just then. The doors of the auditorium were suddenly pushed open. Two tall figures walked in from outside the door. They were two men wearing military uniforms. The stars on their epaulets glinted coldly under the lights. With steady strides, they walked straight toward the stage. The eyes of the entire venue were drawn to them. The female reporter subconsciously stood up. You are. The soldier at the front saluted with a standard military salute. We are from the College of Aerospace Science and Engineering. National University of Defense Technology. Today, we have come to deliver the admission letter to student Yen Yuan. As he spoke, he took a red envelope from the folder he was carrying. Student Yen Yuan has excellent academic performance and has won awards in multiple national-level competitions. After research and deliberation, our institute has decided to offer her special admission, making her a graduate student in our institute's aviation field. She was admitted through a separate selection channel, without taking the national entrance examination. So, she doesn't need to take the graduate entrance exam at all. He handed the admission letter to me. Congratulations. Classmate Yen Yuan. Welcome to the National University of Defense Technology. The auditorium erupted completely. The admission letter from the National University of Defense Technology was laid out right in front of the camera. A red cover, a gold embossed school emblem, and military green lettering. The words National University of Defense Technology were so dazzling under the lights that they stung the eyes. The female reporter froze for a full 2 seconds before reacting and extending the microphone toward the soldier. Do you mean that student Yen Yuan never needed to take the postgraduate entrance exam in the first place? Yes. The soldier's voice was not loud, but it was full of force. She was admitted to our academy through special recruitment. The selection process is strict. And it's separate from the National Unified Exam. So she has no reason to risk cheating. As he spoke, he glanced at Ding Ruhan. That glance was very calm, yet it was like a knife, stabbing straight into Ding Ruhan's heart. Student Ding, you said that classmate Yen Yuan cheated in the exam room. Then I want to ask you. She didn't even enter the exam room. How could she cheat? In the auditorium, everyone's gaze swept over to Ding Ruhan. Her face turned deathly pale, and her lips trembled. This is impossible. This can't be. She murmured to herself, as if completely unable to accept the truth. The female reporter held the microphone out in front of her. Ding. Do you have anything you want to say? Ding Ruhan suddenly looked up. Her eyes were red, like a beast driven into a dead end. You must be in on this together. Her voice suddenly rose, becoming so sharp it was a little ear-piercing. You must have taken her money. She's nothing but a scammer. And so are you. You all have no conscience. As soon as those words were spoken, the auditorium fell into a terrifying silence. Everyone was stunned. Even the barrage of comments paused for a second. Then it completely exploded. Is she insane? Is she insulting the military? It's over. It's over. This woman is completely done for. The soldier's expression visibly turned cold. His gaze changed from calm to sharp. Say that again. Ding Ruhan seemed to have gone all in, her voice growing even more shrill. I said you took her money. You helped her fake it. You're all in on it. Why does she get to go to the National University of Defense Technology? She's clearly just a cheating piece of trash. Shut up. The soldier finally interrupted her. He didn't shout. His voice wasn't even loud, yet it carried an unquestionable oppressive force. In the auditorium, even the sound of breathing grew a little softer. The soldier took out his phone and, in front of everyone, dialed a number. The call was quickly connected. He glanced toward the entrance of the auditorium, his voice clear and calm. This is the grand auditorium of XX University. XX College. A student has publicly slandered a national military academy and its personnel. The remarks were vile and had a profoundly negative impact. Behind the suspicion, there may be an organization or foreign forces manipulating things. Please send personnel immediately to investigate. In just a few short sentences, the air in the auditorium seemed to freeze. The school deputy secretary's face turned pale in an instant. He hurriedly stood up. Comrade. Comrade. There may be some misunderstanding here. The soldier didn't even look at him. Whether it's a misunderstanding or not, we'll wait until the investigation results come out. He hung up the phone and turned his gaze back to Ding Ruhan. Every word you just said will be recorded. You will be held fully responsible for what you said. Ding Ruhan seemed completely drained of strength. She staggered back a step, and the chair scraped out a harsh, grating sound as she bumped into it. I just. She wanted to say something, but no matter what, she could not get the words out. She had originally thought this was just a play of justice versus evil. She was the one standing in the light. She reported the cheater. She would be praised, will be pitied, will be remembered by everyone. But she never expected. Behind the light stood not her. It was the army. It was the National University of Defense Technology. It was an existence she couldn't even reach by looking up. At the entrance of the auditorium, a burst of hurried footsteps soon came. Several people in police uniforms, led by the school security office staff, quickly walked in. They went straight to the front of the stage. One of them showed his badge. We're from the City Bureau. Received a notice to come assist in the investigation of a case involving alleged false accusations against state organs and military personnel. After he finished speaking, his gaze turned to Ding Ruhan. Student Ding Ruhan, please come with us. Ding Ruhan froze completely. I'm not going. You can't arrest me. She tricked me first. She deserved it. Why does she get everything? Why can she get into graduate school without entrance exams? And I can't. She's just lucky. What's so great about that? Before she could finish, 2 police officers had already stepped forward, one on each side, and held her up. Take her away. The 2 cold words fell. Ding Ruhan was forcibly dragged off the stage. Her high heels scraped across the floor, making a grating noise. As she struggled, she screamed, "Let go of me. I am the victim. I am the whistleblower. You can't treat me like this." No one paid her any attention. Her voice quickly faded away outside the auditorium doors. The auditorium fell into a deathly silence. On everyone's faces was an expression so complex it was hard to describe. Shock, fear, and a trace of belated fear. Because, just moments ago, many of them had also followed the tide of the internet and cursed Yen Yuan. Even, some people at the scene had quietly applauded Ding Ruhan. The female reporter held the microphone, her fingers trembling slightly. She tried hard to make her voice sound steady. Then, "Classmate Yen Yuan, is there anything else you'd like to say about this?" I took the microphone. The lights fell on my face. This time, I didn't hide. I raised my head and looked into the camera. I said each word deliberately. "I just want to say one thing. Before you nail me to the pillar of shame, could you, first, go check whether I actually entered the exam hall. Check whether I could possibly have cheated. Check whether those so-called evidence are really true." In the auditorium, it was quiet for a few seconds. Then, it was unclear who, but someone began to applaud softly. The applause was faint, yet it was like a pebble dropped into a still pool of water. Soon, more applause followed, from scattered to continuous, from hesitant to enthusiastic. The bullet comments also began to flood the screen. "Sorry, Yen Yuan. Sorry, we owe you an apology. And we owe ourselves some reason." The female reporter fell silent for a few seconds, then suddenly bowed to the camera. "Here, I also want to represent our program team, and say to classmate Yen Yuan, I'm sorry. Before the matter was fully investigated, we used language that was biased. This is our failure. Going forward, we will continue to follow up on the investigation results. We will also conduct a comprehensive review and reflection on this incident." After saying that, she looked at me again. "Yen Yuan, what do you plan to do next?" I smiled. "Do what should be done. It's time to go to school. So go to school. For those who should be held responsible, hold them responsible. I just hope." I paused and looked at the young faces below the stage. "Next time, when you see someone online whom everyone says is utterly unforgivable, could you first ask one question? Where's the evidence? Instead of attacking them to death first." Inside the auditorium, even more enthusiastic applause broke out. I know, this applause doesn't mean everyone is truly remorseful, but at least, some people have begun to realize they, too, took part in a cyberbullying, and I, finally, had the chance to say one thing for myself. I didn't. After the live stream ended, the school completely descended into chaos. The school leaders were surrounded by reporters. Was there negligence in the school's previous investigation? Will the disciplinary action against classmate Yen Yuan still be carried out? How does the school plan to deal with the 3 students, including Ding Ruhan? The deputy secretary's face alternated between red and white. He could only keep repeating, "We will handle this in accordance with the law and regulations. Everything will be subject to the investigation results." The school has always attached great importance to exam fairness. I didn't look any further. I was taken by the 2 military personnel from the National University of Defense Technology to a small conference room in the back. "Student Yen Yuan." The military officer leading them looked at me, and his gaze softened a little. "This time, you've been wronged." I froze for a moment. "You knew all along. Knew you were being subjected to online abuse." "I know." He nodded. "We received the relevant report the day after it started blowing up online. We had originally planned to come earlier, but because it involves the confidentiality of the special recruitment, we needed to go through some procedures. We didn't expect it to drag on until today." He paused, then said, "But still, that's fine. At least, the truth was made clear in front of the whole nation. That way, No one will ever be able to use this matter to attack you again. I looked at him and suddenly felt like laughing. Aren't you afraid? Aren't you afraid that I might really have a problem? Aren't you afraid that if you stand up for me today, people will say you're covering for one of your own? He looked at me, his gaze very serious. We did some research. From your freshman year to now, we've checked all your grades, competition results, and research records. Your advisor speaks very highly of you. You've never dropped the ball on any critical project. A student like you wouldn't make a rookie mistake on something like the graduate entrance exam. He smiled. Besides, you don't need to. Our selection is much stricter than the postgraduate entrance exam. I suddenly felt my nose sting a little. It turned out that in this world, there really are people who, before believing in you, will first look into it, rather than just looking at a few news articles and a few edited clips. The soldier took a document out of the briefcase. This is your official admission letter. And there is also a confidentiality agreement. Please sign it first. Once things settle down here, you can come to the school to enroll. I took the pen and wrote my name on the document. At that moment, I suddenly had a very strange feeling. It felt as if I had finally climbed out of a huge quagmire. Although there was still mud on me, I had already made it to shore. Over the next few days, things moved faster than I had imagined. The municipal bureau acted very quickly. First, the ticket scalper was arrested. In his rented apartment, the police found a large number of chat records, bank transfer receipts, and several mobile phones used specifically for taking orders. The interrogation video was quickly released to the public through official channels. In the footage, the scalper is wearing handcuffs, his face pale. I'm just someone who sells answers. I usually post information online. And whoever wants to buy it, I sell it to them. That day, an intermediary contacted me and said there was a job, asking me to cooperate in recording a video. He said as long as I read the script he wrote, he'd give me 10,000 yuan. I didn't think much of it at the time, so I agreed. As for that girl, I don't know her at all. The so-called sending her the answers was all made up. The chat records were also screenshots sent to me by the middleman, telling me to say it that way. The police later released chat records between the scalper and the middleman. The middleman transferred 10,000 yuan to the scalper. The note said, "Cooperate in the act." And the true identity of that middleman was quickly uncovered. He was a layabout with no real occupation. Tracing it further back, the source of the funds pointed to Ding Ruhan's bank card. The truth, like a huge boulder, crashed into the waters of public opinion. Graduate school entrance exam cheating case takes a major turn. White Lotus roommate suspected of false accusation and frame-up. Scalper admits to giving false testimony. Ding Ruhan detained on criminal charges. One trending topic after another dominate. The major platforms. Those people who had cursed me the worst before have started quietly deleting their Weibo posts. Some people posted long apologies. I admit, I previously followed the crowd in criticizing Yen Yuan. I shared a lot of false information without verifying it. Now that the truth has come out, I feel ridiculous. I'm sorry. Yen Yuan. Some people are just being stubborn to the end. Even if she didn't cheat, she wasn't exactly a good person before. She bragged in the dorm, which just shows there's something wrong with her character. But such voices were quickly drowned out by more and more self-reflection. The school has also finally released a new announcement. Announcement on the investigation results of student Yan's postgraduate entrance exam cheating Inc. Ident. The announcement states very clearly, after investigation, Yen did not take the postgraduate entrance examination and there was no cheating. Ding Ruhan and 2 others are suspected of forging evidence and making false accusations to frame others. And the public security authorities have opened an investigation. The school will, in accordance with relevant regulations, expel Ding Ruhan and the other 2 from student status. The school deeply apologizes for the impact caused to classmate Yen. Going forward, the school will conduct a comprehensive review of management loopholes and strengthen ideological and political education for students. At the end of the notice, There was also one sentence attached. For Yen Yuan, the student who was harmed in this incident. The school will provide corresponding compensation and support in accordance with the law and regulations. Compensation. I looked at those two words and smiled. The days when I was subjected to online abuse. The nights when I was kicked out of the dorm and stayed in a small hotel. The days when my parents were in the mountains, being pointed at and gossiped about. Can all of this be brushed aside with the word compensation? Of course not. But I also knew that this was already the most decent stance the school could take. I did not pursue the matter any further, because I still had more important things to do. I want to leave here, go to a place that truly belongs to me. Gu Zhou came to see me a week later. That day, I had just finished handling the paperwork at the academy. All records about cheating were deleted from my file. The counselor looked at me with a complicated expression. Yen Yuan, the things that happened before. Teacher. I'm sorry. I smiled. It's okay. You just did what you thought was the right thing. Going forward, I hope that before you do the right thing, you'll check a little more carefully. He opened his mouth, but in the end he only let out a sigh. Wish you a bright future. I nodded and turned to leave. When I walked out of the teaching building, a familiar figure was standing not far away. Gu Zhou. He had lost a lot of weight. There were obvious dark circles under his eyes. Her hair was also a complete mess. When he saw me, his eyes visibly lit up. Yuan. He quickly walked toward me. I stopped in my tracks. What is it? He looked at me, his lips moving slightly. I'm sorry. I looked at him. You've already said that many times. What you want is not an apology. I know. He gave a bitter smile. What you wanted was for me to stand by your side back then. But I didn't. My mom pressured me. And I was afraid too. I was afraid this matter would affect my future work and my future life. So, I chose the most selfish option. As he spoke, his eyes turned red. Yuan, can you give me one more chance? Can we start over? Okay. I looked at him. The boy I had once liked for 3 years. The boy who chose to walk away when I needed someone to believe in me the most. Suddenly, I felt that he was a little pitiful. It's also a little ridiculous. Gu Zhou. I spoke calmly. Do you know? When I was being cursed at across the entire internet, the thing I looked forward to most was for you to stand up and say one thing. I believe her. Even if you didn't do anything at all. Just stayed by my side quietly. I would still feel like I wasn't alone. But you didn't. You chose to join everyone else in kicking me while I was down. You didn't even ask me once, did you really do it? Gu Zhou's face instantly turned pale. You said you were afraid. I went on. Afraid it would affect your future. Afraid your mom would get angry. Afraid people would say you were with a cheater. So, to protect yourself, you threw me out. Now, the situation has been reversed. And now you've come back to tell me. I'm sorry. To tell me. Let's start over. Do you think this is fair? He opened his mouth, then closed it again. I know. It was my fault. But people make mistakes, don't they? You can't our 3 years of relationship just because of one mistake. I laughed. You're right. Everyone makes mistakes. So, you should also learn to pay the price for your mistakes. Between us, it's over. Gu Zhou's gaze instantly turned grim and menacing. Don't regret it. You think you're amazing now. Isn't it just being specially recruited? Isn't it just knowing a celebrity? Do you believe that with just one word from me, I can make you get attacked online again? I looked at him. Suddenly, I felt a little bored. Oh, how do you want to put it? He gritted his teeth and forced out a sentence. I told you. Your relationship with that male celebrity is anything but simple. Why do you think he helped you? Have you two been together for a long time already? Dare you say no? I laughed out loud. You can try. Let's see whether your one sentence is more useful. Or his tens of millions of fans are. Gu Zhou's expression changed completely. He clearly didn't expect me to be this calm. He thought I would be scared. That I would beg him. That I would be like before. Crying and telling him, don't leave me. But I didn't. I turned around, ready to leave. He suddenly stepped forward and grabbed my wrist. Yuan, don't be like this. We've had so many years of feelings between us. Do you really not care at all? I lowered my head and glanced at the hand he was gripping. Guzhou, you're hurting me. He froze for a moment, then instinctively let go. I gently rubbed my wrist. Of course I care. So. I don't want to use a relationship that you ruined with your own hands to torment myself. Leave. Don't come looking for me again. After saying that, I turned and walked away. No turning back. I thought he would stop there, but I never expected him to really go that far. To the point of madness. A few days later, a long article suddenly appeared on major platforms. The title was glaringly eye-catching. My 3-year relationship with the girl who cheated on the graduate entrance exam. How she deceived me step by step. The author was Guzhou. In the article, he cast himself as a pitiful man who had been deceived and used, saying that from the very beginning. I was deeply scheming, saying that I used his family background to pave the way for myself, saying that I had already been having an ambiguous relationship with a top-tier male star, saying that I was bound to get caught cheating on the graduate school entrance exam sooner or later. He even attached a few of our old photos. He called them evidence. Evidence of what? He didn't make it clear, but his meaning was obvious. I am not some wronged victim. I am a bad woman who straddles 2 boats and uses men to get ahead. Less than half an hour after he posted this article, it shot to the top of the trending list. Female suspect in postgraduate entrance exam cheating may be 2-timing. Top male star implicated. Ex-boyfriend exposes shocking. When I saw these headlines, I was packing my bags, getting ready to report to the National University of Defense Technology. After I finished reading that article, I was silent for a few minutes. Then I laughed. My laugh was a little cold. I didn't explain, because I knew someone would be more anxious than I was. In less than an hour, Lu Tingzhou's studio issued a statement. Formal statement. Recently, false statements have maliciously linked Mr. Lu Tingzhou with Ms. Yen Yuan. Mr. Lu Tingzhou and Ms. Yen Yuan are merely ordinary friends. In the matter in which Ms. Yen Yuan was falsely accused, Mr. Lu Tingzhou, out of trust in a friend, provided truthful testimony. We reserve the right to pursue legal responsibility against those with ulterior motives who take advantage of this matter to spread rumors and smear reputations. At the same time, we also remind all internet users, before the truth is clear, please remain rational. Do not become an accomplice to rumor spreaders. This statement is hereby made. Below is a statement, along with a photo of a lawyer's letter. The reactions from netizens were even faster than I expected. Holy shit. Is this guy crazy? Wrote a little essay after the breakup and dragged a top celebrity into it too. Did he think this was an 8 p.m. soap opera? Spreading rumors carries legal responsibility. Bro. Lu Tingzhou's fans even directly dragged Guzhou onto the trending list with their insults. Are you even worthy? You should look in the mirror and see what kind of thing you are. Our brother Lu kindly helped someone prove their innocence. And this is how you repay him. You turn around and throw dirt on him. Guzhou's school quickly also issued a notice. Decision on the handling of student Gu's false statements made online. The school believes that Gu Mao's actions seriously damaged another person's reputation and caused a very negative social impact. In accordance with school rules and disciplinary regulations, he has been expelled from school. At the same time, because his actions are suspected of being illegal, the relevant leads have been handed over to the public security authorities. In just a few days, Guzhou went from being a sympathized with ex-boyfriend to a slanderer everyone was condemning. His WeChat, phone number, and home address were quickly dug up. Some people called him and cursed at him. Some people sent him private messages and threatened him. His parents were also blocked at their doorstep. Why is your son so shameless? Since you raised such a thing, you're not good people either. Guzhou's mind completely broke down. He began to suffer from insomnia and depression. Every day he lived in fear and under abuse. Finally, one day, he jumped from the rooftop of the school building. The news report was written very simply. A student at a certain university fell to his death, allegedly due to mental collapse caused by online bullying. His name was not mentioned, but everyone knew it was him. A few days later, his mother also ended her own life at home with a rope. Some people say I'm too ruthless. They say I could have stepped forward and said, I hope everyone will stop online bullying him. They say I could have, when he was at his most desperate, reached out and pulled him up. But I didn't. I just calmly finished reading the news. Then, I closed the web page. I don't feel happy, nor do I feel relieved. I just know very clearly. This was the path he chose himself. Back then, he chose to trust everyone except me. He chose to push me out for the sake of his own future. Now, he too had to learn to pay the price for his choices. This is the world of adults. No one will keep cleaning up your mess forever. The matter of Guzhou and his mother did not linger in my life for too long, because I have already found a new direction. National University of Defense Technology. It was a place completely different from my original university. Even the air here carried a hint of solemnity. In the campus, people in military uniforms could be seen everywhere. They walked with purpose. Their speech was brief and forceful. On the day I first arrived at the school, it was Shen Yan who came to pick me up. He was dressed in a military uniform, standing straight and tall. The stars on his shoulders glinted in the sunlight. You're Yen Yuan. He looked at me, his gaze calm. I am Shen Yan. If there's anything in the future, you can come find me. He spoke very directly. There was no unnecessary small talk. I smiled. Okay, then from now on, I'll be troubling Instructor Shen. He froze for a moment. I'm not an instructor. I'm here for further study. Just like you. I'm a graduate student. I let out an O. Then I'll have to trouble you. Classmate Shen. He looked at me, and the corner of his mouth seemed to move slightly. Let's look out for each other. The days that followed were much harder than I had imagined. Getting up at 6 every morning to do drills, running, formation drills, physical training. Afternoon classes were specialized courses. In the evening, it's self-study and projects. The people here are all outstanding. Some come from top universities. Some have earned military merits in the army. Some people have taken part in major missions. Compared with them, all my previous achievements and honors seemed rather insignificant. But I didn't back down. I told myself, you got here not because of luck. It's because you deserve it. I started studying desperately, staying up late in the lab, training over and over again in the simulator, looking up information in the library. When I was utterly exhausted, I would stand by the runway and watch fighter jets roar past before my eyes. That sense of power, that kind of speed, that kind of freedom. Flying toward the sky, it would make me feel that all the darkness I had experienced before was no longer so important. Shen Yan appeared when I was at my most exhausted. That day, in the simulator, I was scolded so harshly by the instructor that I couldn't even lift my head. Is this what you call flying? You're crawling. At this rate, even if you get into the sky, you're just going to die. I gritted my teeth and started over again and again, until, at last, the simulation pod system prompt said, this training session has been graded as unsatisfactory. By the time I came out of the simulation pod, I was practically falling apart. Shen Yan stood beside me, holding a bottle of water. He handed the water to me. Have some. I took the water and said, thank you. You're already very impressive. He suddenly said, huh. I froze for a moment. You're the first girl in this project to be able to perform the movements this completely within a week. The instructor scolded you because he has expectations for you. He wouldn't waste his breath on someone with no hope. I looked at him. Suddenly, I felt like laughing. Your way of comforting people is pretty unique. He also smiled. I'm not very good at saying nice things, but I know you can. You even dared to say you didn't cheat in front of so many people. Just for that alone, you're braver than a lot of people. I froze for a moment. You watched that live stream too? Yeah. He nodded. I was still in the military back then. Everyone crowded around the phone to watch together. They all said you're amazing. So do I. At that moment, something inside me suddenly softened. Later, we worked on projects together. We stayed up late together to write reports. We competed together in the cafeteria for the last serving of braised pork. He didn't say much, but it always appears when I need it most. I had a cold and a fever, and he brought me medicine. When I was scolded by my advisor, he stayed with me and walked around the playground with me, lap after lap. When I fell during training, he pulled me up from the ground. Once, I asked him, "Why are you so good to me?" He thought for a moment. "Because you deserve it. You never bowed your head to anyone. You also never changed yourself because of what others thought. Someone like that deserves to be treated well." I looked at him. Suddenly, I felt that this taciturn man was actually very gentle. On the day I graduated from graduate school, beside the airport runway, the setting sun dyed the sky orangered. The fighter jets were lined up in rows in the distance. The wind was very strong. It blew so hard that it was hard to keep my eyes open. Shen Yan suddenly knelt on one knee in front of me. I froze for a moment. "You." "Yan Yuan." He looked at me, his gaze very serious. "I'm not good at saying nice things, but I can promise you, from now on, no matter what happens, I'll stand by your side. If you say you didn't do it, I'll believe you. If you say you're going to the front lines, I'll go with you. Will you marry me?" I looked at him, looked at his eyes, a little red from the wind. Suddenly, I felt like crying. "Okay." I nodded. "I'm willing." He smiled, put the ring on my finger. At that moment, I knew the darkness of the past had already been left far behind. Those who once wanted to destroy me had already paid the price. And I, at last, became the person I had always wanted to be. The second year after Shen Yan and I got married, one day, my mom called me, "Yuan Yuan. Do you remember the year before, when things were really heated online?" "Yeah, I remember." I smiled. "What's wrong?" "Back then, a few city people came to the mountains. They said they were here for tourism. As it turned out, they got lost in the mountains. They called for help at night, and it was the town's rescue team that went to bring them out." I froze for a moment. "What does that have to do with me? Just listen to me first." My mom smiled. Later, when they were eating in town, they were chatting and let it slip. They said they came all the way to the mountains on purpose. They said they wanted to go and see what the parents of that woman who cheated on the graduate school entrance exam were really like. They also said they wanted to make your family no shame. I froze for a moment. "Are they the same people who used to mob me online?" "Probably," my mom said. Later, a young man recorded what they said and posted it online. As a result, when netizens dug into it, they found that they were the same few who had been the most vicious in insulting you online. Now, it's their turn to be attacked online. They said they were seeking justice so hard they ended up in the mountains. They also said, if they can't even figure out mountain roads, they should just stay home and stop embarrassing themselves. My mom couldn't help laughing as she said this. "Your grandmother said this is called retribution." I laughed too. I laughed very lightly. "How are they doing now? What else could happen?" My mom said, after being rescued, they went back to the city looking utterly bedraggled. I heard that one of them was even fired by the company. They said it seriously damaged the company's image. I leaned back in my chair and looked out the window. In the distance, there were rows of neatly lined up fighter jets. The sunlight was beautiful. The wind was gentle. I suddenly felt that this world is, sometimes, quite fair. Those people who once hid behind their screens, typing on keyboards and thinking of themselves as the embodiment of justice. At last, they also got to experience what it feels like to be subjected to online abuse, accusations, and mockery. When they got lost in the mountains and called for help, I probably never would have imagined. The justice they kept talking about wanting to uphold ended up becoming a joke. As for me, I've already flown far away in my new life.